Can a man's voice and rap lyrics affect a generation? Ice-T lived to prove that for half his life. Behind million-dollar singles and renowned raps is a story America never wants to repeat. From White House scandals to FBI emergency meetings and even the president speaking out, the hip-hop general has survived the storms and is ready to wreck anyone's career. Ice-T is just a bright pawn on the power chessboard, not a settled 60-year-old with all that cash. After dubbing him a black man in disguise, the government wrote a lesson about a bright example. After his career was blacklisted, some demos burned overnight. Ice-T's misfortunes are worse than you realize. Get a steel mentality, because what I'm going to reveal could haunt you forever. 1. His freezing childhood hip-hop legend and cultural phenomenon. Ice-T had a 40-year career. Believe it? Ice-T stood like a monument while America built 4 additional Statue of Liberty statues or saw 8 presidents across those 4 decades. To understand why that man survived, we must travel back to the 1960s, when young Tracy stood between 2 funerals. Tracy Lauren Merrow, aka Ice-T, was born in 1958 in Newark, New Jersey. His mother died in primary school, and his father died of a heart attack a few years later. The 12-year-old was an orphan. My loneliness was complete, Ice-T recalled. He lost both before he realized what a child was. No one told him good night or taught him forgiveness. Like a faded film, family is a distant memory to him. Adults believe loss makes children grow up, but no one taught them the cost of cold weather. Children don't understand pain, they say. They repeated it until the child thought its cries were pointless. Adults call it tough love. In reality, they're teaching kids that their sorrow isn't worth listening. Ice-T was one of those youngsters. He considered his childhood unlucky. When you lose everything too soon, you don't know how to describe the agony, but the silence eats at you forever. Ice moved in with his aunt in Crenshaw, South Central, where weapons and cops coexisted after his parents died. The 6th grader entered the inner city's dark world. But unlike most kids, he stayed in school and pretended to skip class to learn. You want to run, but everything leads to violence and suspicion. Ice left his aunt's residence at 17. "Annie signed my check, so you'll never see me again." He departed without looking back. He joined in 1979 to flee, not become a hero. For years later, he learned that even in uniform, he wasn't secure. "Having to follow another leader bothers me." He returned to Los Angeles and became a smuggler. Ice lived like there were no bounds thanks to illicit deals. He may buy over 300 collectible sneakers in the Bahamas anytime. If he had kept his earnings from that day, he could buy a Beverly Hills property or a life sentence. They still say movies and TV romanticize crime until you get caught. Then it's exciting. Ice realized that sooner than most. Perhaps that's why he adopted a bizarre survival rule: no stimulants or booze. He calls it survival instinct. Because in such world, no one will assist an orphan rebound. Falling eliminates you. Unfortunately, wealth yeast disappeared too. Travel to the Bahamas in luxury. The whole thing sounds like a tired song. "I have a friend who makes more money than me," Ice revealed in an interview. He said, "Ice, you have a chance. Perform rapping." I was perplexed by opportunity. I've quit smuggling. Not everyone who enters the dark can escape. Ice-T knows when to stop, unlike other Beverly Hills homebuyers. A criminal mentoring a reformed criminal sounds like something from the Jeffersons, but maybe only those who have fallen into the deep pit can help each other up. Ice's first motivation sounds like a joke, because all the gorgeous girls talk to you in class. Eventually, guys with good cars will pick them up, Ice added. "I said I must buy a car now. That's it." It turns out an orphan boys need to be noticed and loved drove him to the streets, not ambition. A trivial reason can push a homeless child into crime. If his parents were living, they might sigh at their son who chose the worst path to adulthood. Why would a guy from gangs, dirty money, and guns go into art? Does music redeem a former smuggler, or just help him survive? Do you believe the public would have let him reign on the fabled throne for 40 years if this past had been exposed from the start? A rebirth narrative or the best camouflage of a survivor? However, if music is the route to salvation, no one would have predicted that it would lead him back to hell, where it began with Cop Killer. 2. Broken generations rise. Voice: you should make music because you love it, not for profit. So I wrote a new rap song, but I don't expect to make any money, just because I love it. Ice-T declared that when he began his career, his motivation was enthusiasm. That desire was developed out of fear. Fear of poverty, fear of returning to the old road, and fear of having nothing left to lose. Music isn't optional for Ice's survival instinct. As you mentioned, your passion paid off. Instead of weapons or money, he started afresh with music. Taking his moniker from Iceberg Slim, a legendary pimp who became a writer, Ice-T makes a statement. Tell the darkness to stop consuming me. Slim discusses sin. Ice rapped about it. Both knew to make the past your story when you can't avoid it. Ice started off as a club corner DJ spinning tracks for dancers. But when the sound system collapsed one night, he took the mic and improvised. He tells stories, not songs. As the story concluded, the chamber erupted. He remembered that reading rhymes gained me more attention than becoming a DJ. Ice-T realized then that his voice could silence and compel people like bullets couldn't. As hip-hop expanded, Ice heard and said, I can do that. He started out like any other New York rapper. Put your hands up. Great celebration. Ice was interrupted by his companions. Speak your mind. And he told it straight. 6 in the Morning was the first rap song to address crime from a criminal's perspective. Police record-like song. Gangsta rap was born from it. He said Schoolie D and Philly influenced him, and people told him to market that track. I agreed, and it worked. That serendipity hit a cultural explosion. Ice-T gave gangsta rap soul, not invention. You show that crime has a purpose and that survival sometimes starts with bad choices. His Sire Records contract was inked in 1987. Rhyme Pays, the debut album, was named as a harsh prophecy about rhymes pay, but the truth costs. Powered him to the top. OG Gangsta made him a legend, and the media swarmed him like vultures circling a new icon. They labeled him a violent peddler, but South Central called him a truth teller. Violence is the truth the American establishment refuses to hear. Ice makes hip-hop less tasty, not more fierce. A critic argued Ice-T reads a generation's obituary, not raps. Perhaps they're right. The Wanted face was illuminated on stage. Ice heard thousands chanting his name, but dismissed it as an echo. He felt lonely while he was praised. Tracy, the orphan who never slept well, stares through the dark glasses. Silence. Living in the dark isn't as scary as losing your identity in the light. You said I rap for those who understand my background. Not making music for 18-year-olds. Artists should let audiences find them, not the other way around. Possibly why his fans don't only listen to his songs. They grew up with him. From Gangsta Rap's fury to when they realized Ice was conveying the story of a generation left behind where rap was a communal confession. When someone who lived in darkness is suddenly lit by the world, the light beams and burns. Ironically, Ice-T was about to lose his freedom, which the world honored him for. Because at the height of his stardom, he was about to do something no one imagined, turn his saving grace into a bomb that would shock the U.S. He stopped rapping after one song in 1992. He got infamous. Then everything fell apart. 3. 1992, the year music died. Cop Killer is more than a song. It's the first crack in America's free speech mirror, making people ask if there are limitations to the right to tell the truth and who sets them. The joke-inspired Cop Killer was written by Ice-T in 1990. The song was no longer music when it was released on Body Count 2 years later. It was the cry of a period when police beat black people in the streets and whitewashed justice. No longer. Is this music offensive? Why did a fake song spark a nationwide outrage? April 1992 saw Rodney King beaten 50 times. 4 LAPD officers were acquitted. Los Angeles burns. Cop Killer appeared like a prophecy in that turmoil. A curious phenomena emerged after President George H.W. Bush labeled Ice-T sick. Vice President Dan Quayle branded the song filthy, and 60 members of Congress signed a letter of protest. Superpower governments argued with rappers. A 3-minute song forces the power structure to defend itself. In the conclusion, Warner's shareholder meeting star Charlton Heston delivered the lyrics in an aggressive tone demanding an end. Oliver North wanted the corporation charged with inciting insurrection. Feds blamed the music for the Las Vegas shooting of 2 officers. When fiction is used as a weapon, is the actual danger in the lyrics or what they reveal? Cop Killer's bizarre contradictions come from that. It's believed Ice-T's childhood was too affluent to grasp ghetto black anxiety. Growing up in an upper-middle-class area and studying in a white atmosphere, he was never stopped on the street for his skin color. Many assumed he was speaking for no one when he wrote Cop Killer, fighting an order he had never been crushed beneath. Is the right to speak out against wrongdoing limited to those directly harmed? Music naturally allows artists to express collective emotions. Ice-T wasn't born into poverty like Tupac or NWA or lived on the streets like them. But he saw enough to know silence is complicity. He broke that quiet in Cop Killer, risking his name, contracts, and family safety. The worst thing isn't whether he can write this song, but how bad the system must be if an exception is angry. For Ice-T, this hunt is no longer metaphorical. The FBI designated him a national threat. Tax audits by the IRS. The school administration probed his 15-year-old daughter regarding her father. A bomb threat letter reached Warner Brothers employees. Formerly America's greatest advantage, free speech today threatens artists who formerly profited from it. Is it still a right to tell the truth when it affects your family? Has it been decided? Paradoxically, album sales rose. Texas saw a 370% increase. LA saw a 60% increase. Some cops bought the discs to hear what it says. When people strive to silence a voice, they add volume. Perhaps Policeman Killer was never a song about killing police. The song was about dispelling the idea that America is just. Ice-T spoke one sentence during the storm. Without wanting anyone to bleed, I tossed the stone. The sentence sounds light, but it's the harshest criticism. Sometimes a music question shakes society more than shooting. Who is truly violent? Who held the mic or the mechanism that made him scream? Maybe that's why Cop Killer haunts so long. Because it disturbs society and causes the public to confront America's core conundrum. Successful black people are only rewarded when mute. After speaking out against injustice, they were dubbed rebels. Is Ice-T fearless? Does he alone investigate where that fear stems from? Over 30 years later, no one has answered the question. 4. Killer to Cop rebirth forgiveness might be the greatest sorrow, leaving us dumbfounded. The 2000 Hollywood gift to Ice-T was ironic. Sergeant Odafin Finn Tutwola in Law and Order SVU. A rapper who sang Cop Killer plays a police officer. Arresting police were shot, not the police. No longer a fate joke. A slap in the face is karma. Initially, everyone expected he would simply arrive for a few episodes and go. A loud rapper acting is what to expect. Despite being a supporting role, Ice-T became a staple on American television for 20 years and 500 episodes. After nationwide condemnation, he became law enforcement's face. You don't know whether to laugh or bow because it's ironic. He wrote a song in 1992 declaring police enemies and demanding to end that disgusting system. The same system rewrote the script 8 years later, gave him a name badge, plastic gun, and millions of American spectators. Instead of retaliation, they want you to play cop for life, and Ice-T did it. When he appeared on screen, something moved beyond comedy. The old-school rebel rapper is gone. A man who once grasped the dark side of the world stood in uniform attempting to hang onto the final light. Perhaps because you know darkness persists. Changes places. Finn Tutwola. Your character has flaws. Being on the other side of the war has left him with wounds, past, and resentment. That's why the character pops. Ice-T doesn't need to act. He merely has to relive what he disliked from over the border. He said, "If I were a real police officer, I wouldn't allow the gray area remain," in an interview. More than dialogue. A confession. Perhaps a capitulation. He knows how that gray space consumed him. He wears the uniform like armor, shielding, and constraining him. Many claim Ice-T is redeeming himself, but perhaps he's just adjusting to the dichotomy of the rebel becoming a figure of order when Cop Killer's gunfire are replaced by handcuffs and paperwork. America no longer considers him threatening after 20 years. He appeared calm and devoted to the system he formerly prosecuted every Thursday night on TV. It may have been America's oddest victory to use a rebel for propaganda. Sometimes he smiles under studio lights. He smiles knowing he must play his former captor eternally to be free. Final inquiry lingers like a faint memory. Will survival ever occur? We must play the role we wanted to destroy. 5. The cruelest enemy. Time. Ice-T no longer fights the cops or the media at 67, but time. Once a source of debate in America, the name today represents resilience. He didn't get involved in scandals, drugs, or violence like his peers. Though little, a family was his biggest triumph. Coco Austin, 21 years his junior, was Ice-T's lover. They met after Ice-T's fame faded. She liked the man behind the armor, not the hip-hop icon. Daughter Chanel was born in 2015. A tiny youngster between two generations, like a late present to a man who lived his entire life in gunshots and microphones. According to Ice-T, it softens me like ice meeting the sun. Though simple, the saying is a confession from someone who once considered weakness a sin. A Grammy and Hollywood Walk of Fame induction seemed like enough to end a glorious life. The internet doesn't appreciate patience. His nasty speech while his daughter watched was cut short and posted millions of times. Discussion centered on a minor driving error. His 40 years of honor and composure were reduced to a 15-second film. Today's world doesn't need truth sometimes to judge. One click of sharing can caricature a life. Ice-T didn't reply. An explanation video and goodwill restoration were not attempted. He simply stated that people today seek criticism rather than truth. That sentence was a tragic bullet. Short, concise, and terribly truthful. Changes in the world are the expense of time, not wrinkles or age. When you were young, the audience waited for you to speak. Now, even when you're silent, they may make you talk their way. Misunderstanding, even when we're silent, is our time's tragedy, not hatred. For Ice-T, silence is a choice, not weakness. He knew the internet was unbeatable. He kept his dignity. After facing the world so many times, he stood motionless and let time try him. As his daughter snaps pictures with her mother in a peaceful New Jersey house, a different Ice-T smiles. Chanel left the stage lights with only a little laugh, a sound that reminded him that life was worth living, even though the audience had forgotten why they loved him. Maybe deep down, he recognized something childhood never taught him. Time doesn't kill legends. It makes them more real. Who can handle silence after being heard worldwide? The final beat, not being forgotten, is an artist's worst misfortune. Tragedy is when the lights are on but not shining. The stands were filled with music, but the cheers no longer called their names. With Ice-T, it took time. It steadily faded with each season, record, and stage appearance when he saw the audience's eyes change. He spoke for a generation. It frightened authorities, suppressed the media, and made American youth think music might be a weapon. The world's rhythm shifted. The internet eats memory. Ice-T, who once shook America, is now skipped on Spotify. Slower, his gait burdened with prior baggage. Wrinkled skin and gray hair make microphone holding hands shake as if terrified of losing the last memories. Each time the studio door opened, he smelled iron smoke and sweat from his boyhood. All that's left is an echo. No more audience cheers. No more nighttime hand-raising. His heartbeat was the only thing out of sync in a world that had forgotten rap's genuine rhythm. Some mornings, he stared at himself in the mirror and didn't recognize him. The visage that graced album covers and MTV screens everywhere now has tired eyes. Now the system is a phone where people scroll up and down to determine who should be remembered. He used to make songs to combat it. Once, Ice-T fought for attention. Now, since the world primarily listens to lighter, shorter content, he's out of that algorithm. Some regarded his Walk of Fame star in honor. He was aware that it was also goodbye. Hollywood exclusively immortalizes celebrities who have left the spotlight. He entered the stage. Something stuck in his throat when his daughter clasped his hand in the afternoon's golden light. He bowed and kissed his name star. Cold and strange. It feels like an era's tombstone. Ice-T didn't smile during applause. He gazed down at the crowd and saw old friends, faithful followers, and people who had previously lit the stage on fire with him. As they age, their eyes blur and hair grays. They came to see a survivor, not celebrate. He realized he was commemorated, not celebrated. People used to fear me, he whispered. Then they respected me. Eventually, they forgot I was honest. Some nights I wake up silently. The wind pounding the windows was the only sound. Sat up and played an old song of his. That 20-year-old's rap voice, which yelled "cop killer" during a political tempest, suddenly sounds like another soul. Sentence and word cut memories like knives. He realized that hearing his own voice again and not knowing who owned it was more agonizing than losing fame. The younger generation knows him via Wikipedia and low-quality YouTube videos. The rapper-turned-TV actor Bush opposed was dismissed as trivia. Nobody recalls that you sacrificed your youth friend's blood and tears to write rap lyrics, no one dared say. He became a legacy, an exquisite but obsolete term. Truth costs loneliness. No one knows that better than Ice-T. He used to shout at the world. Now he whispers to himself. Now he only hears wind instead of thundering cheers. That quiet may have shown what glory had taken away. Peace. He stood alone in front of the studio's ancient mirror one night. The 1992 tour baseball cap is dusty on the shelf. He touched it and muttered, "I'm here." Nobody answered. But then, a soft beat came out. A tiny smile from Ice-T. Perhaps that's enough. No more titles, no audience. As long as one heartbeat matches the beat. Legends are not written in trophies or chart-topping positions. It was written with unseen scars, restless nights, and perseverance when no one was listening. In that way, Ice-T never fell. He just changed form. From flame to embers, scream to breath. This movie uses statistics, analysis, and commentary from the time of production. Content may vary and should not be considered a forecast. Much more to discover. Resilience, legacy, and truth. Free dive. Our top recommended videos are now showing.